shadows are very, very long now, and they've changed all 4 tires. The longest part of this stop is to take on a full load of fuel. They've completed that and dropped the air jacks. He lights the tires up, and he's away.
Remember, Emerson Fittipaldi was second in the race last year, first in the race in 1992. He has been a formidable force here at Surfers Paradise.
Now again, when the guys leave the pits like that, Tim and Paul, so everybody knows the tires are very cold. That's the reason they lock them up going into the first turn. Not to make them hot, but just because they don't have any traction.
And don't be deceived here. The television cameras are doing a very good job at letting you see these cars. It is in reality much darker than it appears on your television screen right now. What you can use to reference that is the fact that you can see the exhaust during all of the gear changes now, and the glowing on the brake discs, and the fact that when the running lights are on, look at how dark it is from this shot. Here comes Fittipaldi. He makes his challenge, can't get it done.
Michael was going right back by Emo. Emo's tires a little too cold. Michael's got his tires all warmed up.
The third car in that sequence, Scott Goodyear, not in contention for one of the lead places. Running 2 laps down, but riding with him here. Chance to unlap himself.
Emo doesn't seem to be as fast after his pit stop, Sam, as he was before. You see Scott Goodyear all over Emo. And it just hasn't been that way before the pit stop. So maybe that Emo got a bad set of tires. I would guess that's it, because Michael flew right by him pretty easy.
Emo still being challenged by Scott Goodyear, who runs 11th place, 2 laps off the lead. Look at Michael's separation now.
And the white car behind Scott Goodyear.
Remember, Emo came out of the pit. He had a lot faster pit stop than what Michael did. He came out ahead, leading the race. Michael caught him right away and went right back by him. So I'm guessing it's bad tires on Emo's part. Right there, Emo, the number 2.
So Emerson Fittipaldi has his work cut out if he is going to catch Michael Andretti. And young Michael is having a spectacular day as he comes back to the IndyCars. Valvoline Australian IndyCar Grand Prix. Check out the street lights as they go past them. They're turned on here. And now the chief steward of the series, Wally Dallenbach, is concerned about the falling darkness. In fact, he has asked the crews to start radioing their drivers and find out what they think about the visibility. Chuck Sprague on the radio there to the Penske cars. And they're trying to decide whether or not this race can go the full distance. It's 48 laps complete. It's a 65-lap scheduled race.
If I was Emerson Fittipaldi, I would decide that it wasn't dark until I had passed this man, Michael Andretti. Then I decided it was too dark.
No, but you know, when we look at the crews, I just started to mention how nice the TV cameras make it look. This is a little bit more of what it really looks like. Very dark. But when you look at the TV cameras in the pits, it looks like it's beautiful sunshine and daylight.
You take a terrific beating going over these chicanes. Physically, as a driver, you can see Michael actually scrunches down a little bit in the cockpit to brace for the shock.
From my point of view, it's becoming so dark here that whenever a flash goes off in the grandstand, it's very bright. You almost wonder if that eventually isn't a problem for a driver.
And it's also...
Jack Arute with an update on Emerson.
Well, Paul, you saw the IndyCar officials asking Chuck Sprague, the team leader for Emerson Fittipaldi, to query his driver as to the conditions of light outside. Chuck returned and said, Emerson's a little bit busy right now trying to chase down Michael Andretti. Did not bother to ask Emerson the conditions, but according to him, he says, I think it's getting awfully dark. What about you, Gary Gerould?
Well, it's interesting. Chip Ganassi just got off the scoring stand. He jogged down and had a quick conversation with Roger Penske. Of course, Ganassi wants to see this race stopped immediately. It would be his first ever IndyCar win. Jokingly, that Penske area camp down there sent him back on the way and said, get out of here, pal. So this is one group here in the Ganassi pit. They can't wait to see a checkered flag.
The distance between the leader here, Michael Andretti, and Emerson Fittipaldi is just under 4 seconds right now. It's a decisive distance.
You know, as far as these guys are concerned, they're very, very sharp, good athletes. They can go for a long time. There's first and second right there. You can see anything that looks like it has to do with light or fire right now, because it really honestly is getting dark in spite of what the television looks like.
Yeah, these pictures can be very deceptive because the cameras are so good and so sensitive.
This is
15 laps to the end of the race right now, but that may be too far.
This is a track where you really have to sense how far you are from the turn. There are several places where you're going very fast and have to brake very accurately for tight turns. That loss of depth perception that goes with the coming darkness is really tough.
You know what's really pretty right now, Sam, is when I look down into turn 1 and down the straightaway, and it's so dark I can see the fire coming out from under the cars from rubbing the track. Now the camera again doesn't pick that up. Not that the camera's bad.
It's not only that. Look at the rear shot of Fittipaldi. You can see the glow of the metal in his exhaust pipe, and a few seconds ago you could see the discs glowing on Scott Goodyear's car.
You'd think we were at Sebring or Le Mans, a kind of long-distance race where you see this sight as they go into the darkness.
And Michael is not letting up. He's still hitting the groove just perfect, hitting every spot on the track that he wants.
And he's increased his lead to just over 4 seconds.
Michael Andretti leads this race. His owner, there he is, Chip Ganassi. Is he on his way to his first win as an IndyCar owner? Is the Renard on its way to a first win in its first race?
Is Michael Andretti on his way to vindicating himself after his terrible Formula One season? What a victory this would be. Therapy indeed.
Well, you know, one thing that, if you want to do the comparison to Formula One, which is very difficult, is he's had substantial testing in this Indy car, and he had virtually no testing in the Formula One car.
He got this car back in November, although it's a new car, new to the series. Actually, of all the 94 cars, this team has had their car the longest. So in a way, it's the oldest, most proven new car. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, look there in the side shots. Look at the glow in the wheels.
Wow. That's from the brakes. Look at the exhaust. You can see the glow of the brake disc behind the wheels when it goes by, Paul.
Maybe we ought to run these things in the dark. Look at all the street lights on, all over Surfers Paradise.
Listen, this is a kind of beauty that we rarely see in racing. We should really savor it.
Let's go pit side, the Ganassi pits. There's Gary.
Well, we talked about Chip Ganassi lobbying to get this race stopped, and you're now angry about this.
This is a dangerous situation. The lights are on along the pits here. The lights are on. The lights are on at the Marriott Hotel. This is a dangerous situation. It's got to be stopped. I'm going to see CART.
What's going to be the emotion if they stop it and you get your first win right now?
That's not what I'm thinking about. Safety right now.
All right, Chip. Thank you.
Well, he's playing politics.
Only thing is the officials aren't looking at the television. They're busy running the race, Sam.
Well, now they've made a decision. We are at lap 51. IndyCar is now reporting to its teams. Roger Penske's no doubt getting the message now that in 4 laps they will flag this race to completion at 55 laps. So Michael Andretti may be on his way to victory, and Chip Ganassi won't have to go argue with the officials. But Emerson Fittipaldi is now closing down on Michael.
3 decades.
Settles now on Surfers Paradise at the Valvoline Australian IndyCar Grand Prix. Michael Andretti is the leader with 2 laps to go. They're going to call this race 10 laps early because of darkness. Street lights are turned on all over Surfers Paradise. Emerson Fittipaldi is trying to close in these last 2 laps. He's closed a full second in the last lap.
Remember last year how Nigel Mansell came out of Formula One and won his first IndyCar race? This is a kind of history repeating itself. Michael coming from Formula One, driving a car that has never been in an IndyCar race before, and apparently headed for victory. A kind of storybooks race here in Surfers Paradise.
You know, Paul, there's first and second place right there. There's Michael going by right there, and Emma in the red and white car right behind him. You know, from the driver's standpoint, I really think the officials have gone a little too far on this. When it gets dark, it's too dark. When it becomes unsafe, it's unsafe. And I think they should have called her about 5-8 laps back.
Michael Andretti working the 53rd lap. Teo Fabi just in front of him. Let's give you the rundown. It's Michael, followed by Emerson Fittipaldi. There's Emo. Then Mario Andretti in third. Jimmy Vasser is fourth. Stefan Johansson is fifth. Sixth, Mauricio Guzulmi. Teo Fabi, who you see in your picture from time to time, is seventh. In eighth is Mike Groff, followed by Nigel Mansell and Scott Sharp in 10th.
Don't underestimate the trickiness of this situation, because Teo Fabi has been pushing hard, and Michael Andretti, in order to defend his lead against the pursuing Emerson Fittipaldi, is going to have to pass him in these very, very difficult conditions.
Michael Andretti now maneuvering for the last lap.
And Emo's right behind. He's really closing up
He's
fast.
really closing up. This is very dramatic. Fabi probably...
Teo Fabi quickly becoming a faster on the last lap of this race. Michael needs to get past him. He gets past him, but it held him up so long that Emerson Fittipaldi is right there. Will he get past Fabi? Fabi continues to run his line. Emo looks for room.
Fabi all of a sudden becomes a big thing in this race when he gets in between those two.
Have the drivers even seen in this bad condition the white flag? There you see Fabi dropping back. Emerson, a clear shot now at Michael Andretti.
It will be a desperate effort for Fittipaldi. Mario Andretti runs in third place right now. So both the Andrettis could end up on the podium. But Teo Fabi's doing everything he can to catch the leader of the race.
Fittipaldi second last year, first the year before. Michael Andretti out of luck here twice in a row in previous races.
Emo's trying as hard as he could ever try. He can't see too good.
Into the final corners now. Michael Andretti, the Renard, the Ganassi Racing Team. So much history being made here in this run, the first race of the PPG IndyCar World Series. The final corner. Now the checkered flag goes to Michael Andretti, who takes the victory here in Surfers Paradise, followed by Emerson Fittipaldi. And you can see the flash from all the different cameras throughout the stands here as they record Mario Andretti coming across the line in third, Jimmy Vasser fourth, and Stefan Johansson comes across in fifth. Chip Ganassi and Michael Andretti have done it in the setting sun here at Surfers Paradise. He's with his owner, Chip Ganassi, and Jack Arut's there.
Well, it's an extremely happy Chip Ganassi along with Michael Andretti. Hey, welcome back to IndyCar racing.
It's great to be back. What can I say? I mean, it's just fantastic. I'll tell you, it's prayed hard for this, and it came through.
When you came down here to Victory Lane, you were just banging on the steering wheel. Has there been a more emotional win in your career?
Probably not. I'll tell you, this is fantastic. I just want to say hi to Sandy, and I'll see you tomorrow night. This is just such a great thing, you know, after everything we've been through, and the guys did a great job. We had to change motors between the warm-up and the race, and the car just never missed a beat. It was great.
Chip Ganassi, the end of a long odyssey that started a long, long time ago. Your feelings?
Jack, my feelings are this. I want to thank my father for hanging in there with me, and there's a big group of people in Minneapolis that I owe a big thanks for hanging in there with me also. And thanks to all of you, and you all know who you are. Thanks.
So very special congratulations to Michael Andretti, his first race back to the IndyCars, and he takes the win. His father joins him on the podium. Good run, too, for Jimmy Vasser. As we take a look down through the remainder of the field, Nigel Mansell, well, he's going to have some work to do if he's going to get back into the championship fight. We give you the entire rundown of the race here at Surfers, the Valvoline Australian IndyCar Grand Prix. And finishing in second place, Emerson Fittipaldi, who's with Gary Gerould.
How tough in the darkness, Emma? Was it dangerous at all?
No, I don't think it was dangerous, Gary, but the last 3 laps was really get bad visibility, and I was just aiming for Michael's back, and I was trying to catch Michael. I mean, I was flying over the curves. It was a great race. Michael did a beautiful job.
And now you've got to contend with Michael Andretti and Nigel Mansell and a whole field of others the rest of this season. Going to be interesting.
Well, I think IndyCar racing never been as good as now. I think we're going to see a beautiful season ahead of us. I mean, very excited for the drivers, for the spectators.
Terrific job, Emma. Thanks.
Thank you, Gary.
And here are the PPG points as Michael Andretti comes back as the points leader, his father in third. His father's got to be really proud.
Mario, how does it feel to be on the podium with Michael?
Oh, there's nothing better. I mean, I'll tell you, that's what really keeps me around. That's every time we do that, it gives me 10 years.
Congratulations.
Very, very happy. Thank you.
Well, coming up Sunday, April 17th, IndyCar racing returns to the streets of the United States. Defending champion Paul Tracy and the sport's best head to California for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. That's April 17th, right here on ABC Sports. Well, the first race has been run. There were many questions to be answered, and many of them have already been answered. Can the Renard stay competitive? Michael Andretti proved that it can be. I'm Paul Page for Sam Posey, Bobby Unser, Jack Arute, and Gary Gerould. So long from Australia.